Shalom, shalom, Israel. Brother Amos with the Watchman for Israel. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, to the brothers out there pushing this truth and strong sincerity, highways and byways, waking up the nation, sealing 144,000, the elect of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom to Yah, Barakatah, Barakatham, to everybody out there pushing this truth, doing the work of the Lord. To the sisters holding it down in the household while the brothers are out uh, doing the work of the Lord and being helpmates to all those that need help throughout this truth to do this ministry. Shalom to y'all as well. I just wanted to go into some current events real quick. This is from the New York Times, and the header of this says two major Saudi oil installations hit by drone strikes, and U.S. blames Iran. Right, so in a nutshell, there was an attack on uh, two of the largest Saudi Arabian oil um, refineries, right? So it happened about Saturday, like 3 or 4 in the morning, I believe. I remember hearing about it, but didn't really pay it any attention. Right, I'm gonna read a couple paragraphs into it, then we'll get into some scriptures. Um, Drone attacks claimed by Yemen's Houthi rebels struck two key oil installations inside Saudi Arabia on Saturday, damaging facilities that process the vast majority of the country's crude output and raising the risk of a disruption in world oil supplies. Right, and this is going into famine. Famine isn't just um, food and water. Famine goes into natural resources as well, right? Because it could be a famine on crops, or it could be a famine on water, or it could be a famine on oil, right? We need oil for this wicked ass place, America, to continue to go on. That's one of the main reasons why they were going over to Iraq. They're messing with Iran, Saudi Arabia, the Iran Contra, and all that. Um, it's in Pakistan and all those other foreign countries that are very rich in oil. They go over there, set up some false flag. Got people all worried about the wrong things, like 9/11. 9/11 happened so that they could invade Iraq and Iran and take their gold and resources and oil. Right? That's what this devil does. He can't abide in home, because if you go down, towards the Mexican border in like Oklahoma, Texas, and all them states around there, those are very rich states in oil. But they want they want control over everything. Right? So with there being a shortage in oil, you're gonna have gas prices go up. There's no telling, because the barrel prices jumped up $12, right? So last time, I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but before we were paying like 15 for gas, and we were losing our mind. Because when I first started driving, I was paying $1. I might have just been paying $1 to get gas. It may not even been that much, right? As a matter of fact, let's see how much gas was when I first started driving. Oh, okay. During this time, the gas was 4.59. Right, so look at the look at how these things spiked. The average price per gallon was 4.11. Right, and the cost fell to 3.74 and continued to fall till the price averaged at 2.07 just after election day, when Obama became president. Yeah, I might not have been paying $1. Excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. I might have been paying. It might have been a little less than $2. At the most, it was $2 when I first started driving. Right, and then it started to spike out of nowhere. So when the gas prices, let's see, Yeah, it was roughly about like two something when I started driving. It wasn't too crazy, right? But then you started to see these gas prices continue to go up and up and up and up, and eventually it became so hard for families to sustain whether they need to get gas or provide food for their family. You had to choose. Then all those necessities that you needed started to become, well, what are wants and what are needs, right? You need food, you need gas to provide for the food, right? The attacks immediately escalated tensions in the Persian Gulf amid a standoff between the United States and Iran, right? So there's always going to be tension between the United States and Iran until Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah returns and cracks the sky open, right? Yahweh Shah's got to come back, and they got to fight in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, and they got to be wiped off the earth, right? And then put back in their proper place as servants to the nation of Israel. Let me get this scripture. I'm gonna start at Matthew 24 and verse 6. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? So we've been hearing all these rumors of wars. People talking about we're building up our arsenal for whoever wants to come and invade our land. If you don't comply with these measures, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. If you don't do this, we're going to do that. We've been hearing this for months, for years, right? But the end is not yet. We're getting close to it. Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right? So these nations are rising up against each other, and they're making a false rapport towards one another. Oh, Iran bombed the Saudi Arabian oil installations. No, we didn't bomb it. They did. They didn't bomb it. They did. Right? And 9 times out of 10, it was the so-called white man. 10 times out of 10, it's the so-called white man. Right? He's the one who usually does it. He creates a problem and then forces his own laws and religions in places that he don't even need to be in. Because chaos causes order in his eyes. And Yahweh Shah is coming to cause a whole bunch of chaos and establish righteous order on this earth. Right? And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. I'm going to jump down a few. So like, it was more on that. That's where I wanted to go. There shall be famines. Right? So these are the famines that are going on. Famine just means shortage. Let's get the definition of famine. Extreme scarcity of food, a shortage, hunger. Right? Let's see what causes a famine. Scarcity of food caused by several factors, including war, inflation, crop failure, population imbalance, or government policies. Right? So all these things are happening right now. We're living in a gas shortage, right? And Donald Trump just said that he opened up the oil reserves. Let's go. You got to read these news outlets. A lot of them be fake, but you can find out a lot by going to outlet medias, not the in network run by Ted Turner. Right, you got Turner Classic Movies, uh, TNT, TNN, all that. Those are Turner networks. Trump says U.S. is locked and loaded. The president suggests that U.S. may know who is behind the crippling attack on the Saudi oil field. Oil prices surge, and uh, Donald Trump says he has authorized use of emergency supplies. Right. So the emergency supplies, it's nothing like a consistent flow of oil. Right. So the emergency supplies may last a month, 2 months, 4 months, half a year at most. But what happens after that? Now you're gonna have the United States having to stage another false flag, talking about another country as a threat to the United States' safety. We need to intact homeland security to deal with these situations. Then we come back and look at what happened in Iraq, right? They went over there and was bombing over there and was over in Pakistan and all these other countries in the Middle East. 2 years later, you have a huge opioid problem that is plaguing these Edomite communities, right? And it's a big uproar. So many people losing their families off of these opioids, but it was no problem when the crack epidemic came out, right? So the Lord is flipping things on them. Let me get that, and then we'll go back to this. The Lord is the master of all wisdom, man. He's the one who builds you up to bring you down, man. He'll guide you all the way to the top, and then pull that rug from under you and watch you tumble down that mountain. And that's what he's doing to the so-called white man. He's building him up for a great fall. Right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Right? So the Lord is putting all these curses on these Edomites and these Ishmaelites. They catching hell from the hands of the Edomites. Right? Everything is working out perfectly. The Lord is playing chess while these Edomites are playing marbles. They're not even on the level of checkers. Right? The Lord is doing everything according to the will that He has it to be, written by His prophets. This is Proverbs 11:2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. Right? So these Edomites are proud. I'm not sure if you guys remember back in like 2002, 2003, George Bush was at the G7 summit or wherever he was at. He said, "We're America. We're gonna go where we want. If you got a problem, come stop us." Right? That's pride. That's pride. And the pride of these Edomites is gonna get them brought real low. This is verse 5. The righteousness of the perfect shall direct his ways. Right? So man's goings are of the Lord. If you're doing what you gotta do, the Lord will direct your path to the kingdom. If you're part of that number. Right? But the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. So these Edomites they just stumbling over their own wickedness. They setting their own people up for failure. Bombing these oil refineries. Now your people can't. Now they're gonna be freezing in the wintertime. Now you're gonna have sedition of men. You're gonna have men out here robbing each other. Men out here trying to kill each other just so they can eat. Look, this is a precept. Look, that's the spirit. Precept from brother Malachi. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. His heart is established. He shall not be afraid until he sees his desire upon his enemies. Hey, that's just the spirit right there. It's just a spirit showing you that the wicked is gonna catch what the wicked is gonna catch. We can't be afraid of what's to come. If you know the scriptures, you know you gotta catch hell and be tried like like gold and fire before you can come out as precious gold. You don't just pick up gold and you be like, oh, this is beautiful. No, it's got to be tried and refined and put into that beautiful matter. Now you got gold chains, gold fronts, gold earrings, anything gold that you can think of, right? Let's read a couple paragraphs from this CNN article. It says the attack on the world's largest oil processing plant early Saturday morning is a dramatic escalation in the confrontation between Iran and Saudi Arabia, even if the Iranians didn't fire the drones or missiles responsible. Several projectiles struck the Abaquic plant, starting a series of fires that quickly took out nearly half Saudi's oil production. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that. So these fires took out half of the oil refinery's production. So if you take half of something, that's a huge majority. Even if you only got two, you take half of that, you got one left. That's a horrible amount of oil that the world just lost. 5% of the global daily output and sparking fears about the security of the world's oil supplies. right? So this is going into the famine, right? A lot of people use oil to run their tractors on. A lot of people use oil for the processing plants where the beans and the rice get manufactured and stuff like that. This is just the start of it. It's unclear when Abaquick, which is operated by Saudi giant Aramco, will be fully operational again. Right, so this is what it looked like. Satellite image taken September 14, 2009 shows a thick black smoke rising from the Abaquick oil processing facility in Saudi Arabia. Right, saying that 10 drones had targeted it. So this was a planned attack. This is nothing but the works of the Edomites, man. Let's go to Obadiah, man. This is Obadiah verse 3. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is on high, saying in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right? So what they do is they set things up, and these countries know who did it. These countries know what happened. They know who was. They know who's behind this stuff, right? Who's the one who's going around starting all these wars? When have you ever heard of the Chinese bombing anybody? When have you ever heard the Elamites bombing anybody? It's always the so-called white man. He's the one who uses drones. He's the one who uses bombs. He's the one that uses all these things. Then all these other nations want to catch up and be just like him, right? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Right? So Saudi Arabia knows exactly what the hell happened. They know who did it. They know who's behind it. Right? All those people whose lives were in danger just for the oil prices. Now you got inflation. Now when the price of things start to go up, now you got to raise the dollar value. Then you start to have money that really doesn't mean a damn thing. Right? That's why the U.S. economy is tanking because everything is going up. You got $15 minimum wage, right? So you got to think of the repercussions that come with that. $15 minimum wage means that the houses got to go up 10% so that they can make their money, right? Next thing you know, you're gonna have burgers at McDonald's for $8, even though you shouldn't be eating McDonald's in the first place. But it's just showing the dramatic repercussion of things going up in price, right? Esau is cunning. He's a cunning hunter. What does he do? He hunts out money, nations, drugs, oils, all things that fill his desire, right? So the people who are at peace with thee, they it's getting to the point where they're gonna say, "F Esau, man." Uh, this is Psalms chapter 58 and verse 2. Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Right? So how did they just do? They just bomb this oil refinery, right? They weigh the balances of wickedness in their the way the violence of your hands in the earth. Your hands is touching everything, and everything your hands touch died. Look at how everything is just falling apart under this so-called white man's rulership. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Right? We feel like Iran is up to this. They're bombing Saudi Arabia. I'm quite sure they might have done some things in Saudi Arabia, but what do they have to profit from bombing that? They got eyes everywhere. Saudi Arabia knows who did it. They got cameras and satellites and all this other foolishness. Their poisons like the poison, Salakia. Their poisons like the poison of a serpent. They're like the deaf otter that stoppeth his ear, which will not hearken to the voice of the charmers, charming never so wisely. Right? So they don't give a damn what anybody is saying to them. They're gonna keep doing what they want to do. Right? And eventually You got a wild animal that keeps doing what he wants to do. He got to be put down. Break their teeth, O Yahweh, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Lord. So the Most High is going to destroy their strength. When you got teeth, the teeth are your strength. They represent power, right? So if a lion bites onto you, that's a strong bite. Let them melt always as waters which run continually. When he bendeth his arrow to shoot his when he bendeth his bows to shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces, as a snail which melteth. Let every one of them pass away, like the untimely birth of a woman. They may not see the sun. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Right? So the Lord is gonna plague them with all the curses that they plagued this whole earth with. 10 times more. So there's no escaping from this. This is just a quick little just going into some current events that's happening. Just be aware. Um, you know, prepare and store up your oil. I'm not talking about physical oil. I'm talking about spiritual oil. Right? Get these understandings. Uh, repent. Ask for forgiveness. Ask the Lord to guide your steps continually. Build up. Be those wise virgins in that parable that Yahweh was speaking of. Right? Trim your lamps. Make sure you have oil for when the bridegroom comes back. Damn this oil that Saudi Arabia got, this place gotta go. But build up your spiritual oil. This is right here. This is symbolic. This is very symbolic. He that spiritual judges all things. Half of the oil got wiped out in Saudi Arabia. So what do you think is gonna happen to the nation of Israel? Half of those people who were lukewarm are gonna be wiped out as well. Right? They're gonna go back into the world. They're gonna become oblivious to what the hell's going on. Then boom, destruction coming. No man even think to question the day is coming. Cause no man knows the time. Let me get one last precept. This is 2 Peter 3 and verse 9. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering towards us, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. Right? So the Lord is not slack in destroying this earth, this wicked ass place called Babylon the Great, which in modern day terms is America. He's not slack in saying he's gonna destroy this. Right? So you gotta count the days. You gotta measure the time. Well, if the brother Arias sent this in the group chat, if Paul was saying it was the last days back then, what time are we living in now? Right? That should put a fire under your ass. You should be like, damn, that was 2,000 plus years ago. Hold on, man. What days are we living in? And now you seeing the times that we living in, man. So guard your oil, your spiritual oil, and trim your lamps and fill up on more oil just in case. Right, with that, I'm gonna say Shalom, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatham. Kwam Yashala to the nation of Israel. We got next